Sì, e dall'altra parte, invece per il Presidente, qui dove c'è anche la... Sì.
Good morning. I have a question for each one of you. For the Prime Minister, what do you think about the statements made by the Episcopal Conference this morning, who said enough with slogans, we have to redefine the government program? And for Dr. Marchionne, the other day you said that you appreciated this statement made by Renzi, the Council of Foreign Relations, and you said that if things continue that way, you would be willing to do more in Italy. Should we speak right away? Respond right away? I don't know how it works in your country, but the idea of being here in the second largest building in the world in America after the Pentagon, we have seen machines after machines, engineers and workers. We talked about economic issues, and I have to talk about the Episcopal Conference. It's really out of place. It seems like the Vatican is talking about how an industry works, but for any type of consideration from this, I can talk about it if you really want me to. I confirm what I said in New York when the Prime Minister was visiting. Now we have given the Prime Minister the opportunity to see the capabilities that exist in this great building, which is not the biggest, but is the great part of the Fiat Chrysler organization, with 15,000 workers in a huge space. So it's a huge workplace with great capability, both technical and market management. This company is willing to work with Italy to do their best for the new Fiat Chrysler in the future. The Prime Minister saw examples after we showed him the Renegade in Italy. He saw the version of 500X, which will be presented next week in Italy, and which will also be produced at the Menfi plant. And we also, I think that Fiat, via its alliance with Chrysler, can in effect bring Italy back and give it breathing life in its industrial life. The commitment exists, and it continues. As I said, and as I said in New York, we continue to support the Prime Minister for the reforms that he's carrying forth, and it's critical for people like us to have a clear path forward, and he's giving that to us.
Number 3 and then number 2.
I'm number 2. Okay. Elena Molinari, Avvenire. Niente c'è. Chiedo al Presidente del Consiglio.
Prime Minister, now that you've seen the U.S. market example in the U.S. more closely and the effects it has on Chrysler, are you convinced by this model? Do you think that can be imported? There's no model which can work for all countries. The welfare state in Italy is very different from the American model, and I wouldn't trade the innovation in U.S. Universities and the relationship with industry is very different, and I would trade any time. But it depends what you mean by the labor market. It's obvious that we, in the next few hours, we will present a complete package, a complete project that not only deals with one article of the Workers' Pact, which is a law that goes back 45 years ago, but that also concerns the labor market in the next 20 years in Italy. This project, this complete project we presented on Monday, and forgive me if I don't present it today, there's no doubt the American model, with its positive aspects, with its less positive aspects too, exists. Here, the unemployment rate is 6.1. In Italy, it's 12%, more than 12%. So this is a fact. I'm not interested in having a discussion between different political parties, and I want to reduce unemployment rate in Italy. I don't care about understanding what this party leader or another party leader thinks. What I want to know is how to create a job in the north and in the south, and to give hope in my fellow citizens. And since over the last 2 years, the unemployment rate in Italy has doubled, And since we have almost 43% of youth unemployment and 12.6% of the employment rate overall, my only great concern is to reduce the number of people who don't have work in Italy. And to do this, we will do everything possible. And this was said by someone else over the last few months. It's a good phrase to use.
Marco Pontini, Messaggero.
Marco Pontini from Messaggero. Prime Minister, last evening in New York, you spoke about the strong powers and the great powers that have to be challenged. Can you explain what you mean by this expression, the strong powers? This is a question, even though it's obvious. In New York, and I'll repeat it again, is that I don't fear the great interests, the great powers, because this is something that was the press emphasized, and I believe that in Italy, rather than strong powers, we have weak minds. If we did have strong powers, it could help our country to change. That would be great. But specifically, Dr. Marchionne, who is the CEO of a great company, of a big company, it's an historical company for our country that for many years has represented Italy more than anything else. I say for good and for bad, because in any case, we can all have our different ideas about the past and the relationship between fiat and politics. I have my own ideas, and I said it in the past. I think that this is a great company today which can position itself in the global market with Fiat Chrysler automobiles with an extraordinary potential to develop and to grow. And I like this challenge because the idea of the Made in Italy that we want to support and defend. There is a Made in Italy which is not just about taking wine, exporting wine and food and clothes. All of this is very important, but it's not just about that. It's the idea that in the global market, there's a reality born in Italy which is grown today with the great historical reality of the United States, and which together can compete to gain space in the future, which we couldn't get if we just stayed within the confines of our past. So Fiat can either lose its relationship with Italy because it becomes a Fiat Chrysler automobiles, and I'm very enthusiastic about the idea that a great company that can compete with the whole world. Obviously, I'm interested that this helps production in Italy. I'm interested in the fact that Italian engineers can have extra possibilities, and I'm interested in the fact that Italian companies from Melfi to Gulgasco can invest and innovate. But this is a private choice that a government can support at the most. First of all, how? By reducing the barriers. The Italian state is not giving money to Fiat. The Italian state owes Fiat eliminating barriers to create new jobs, and that's a fact. The idea is, that as you know, I'm one of those who doesn't believe in being subject to strong powers. I respect everyone, including Dr. Marchionne, and we've also discussed in the past, he and I think we've had mutual exchanges on many topics. We've talked about Florence, we've talked about almost everything except soccer, and this is a good thing. And I believe that the challenge that he has is very exciting and stimulating, and so that's how I see it. I'm very proud as an Italian that Fiat Chrysler automobiles exist. I prefer Fiat Chrysler automobiles to a company who just folds into itself, closed within its market with a domestic market that closes its doors. FCA will bring perhaps new Italian companies that will work in the States, will bring U.S. expertise to help us to grow in certain sectors, and this will be the greatest evidence that globalization is not a monster. It's the greatest opportunity for Italy.
For me basta, vero? Io stop.
That's enough for me, right? Okay.
TGCom 24. I have several questions, ma comincio dalla prima. Quali sono?
What What is it that brings you together? Because Dr. Marchionne in the Council of Foreign Relations said that that this is one of the most important voices, or excellent voices against austerity. Oh, it was just a joke. You can imagine. Yeah, there's no. I can't be. I have to be serious. But what is it that brings you together? What do you have in common? The fact that the Prime Minister is not afraid. You shouldn't underestimate that. The challenge, and I said it in New York, and I'll say it again today, the challenge before us is not for everyone. And all comments from the Episcopal Conference that we heard this morning from newspapers, actually this is a very difficult topic to take up in Italy, and I've been criticized a lot in Italy, and I really don't care about it. And what's important, that the president has to make sure that his agenda is very huge. The country has to be rebuilt, and we have to start today. We don't have to share how we do this. That's his choice as president, prime minister, and I do my job. But the important thing is to have the courage to go forward without being intimidated, without being scared by anyone. The important thing is to know that from a point of view of equity and justice, that we're doing what's necessary for the country. That's the only thing that interests me. If that's what we have in common, then God bless you. The perception in this country, in the United States, is that the system is stronger than the enthusiasm by the Prime Minister. And how can you change this perception in the United States? By giving results. I don't think we need anything else. And I also will answer by saying what I have in common with Mr. Marchionne. It's really two companies. And to use a common expression in automobile engineering, aerospace engineering, they were cooked. There were two companies, and it seemed like it had ended, that the automobile industry had come to an end in Detroit and in Italy too. In the United States, and let me say this, a great choice was made by President Obama, because, and I have to give it to him, he had the vision and the strength to invest $8 billion. In 23 months, Marchionne returned this money. My compliments, with interest. And that's important. And after that, the result that we obtain is that Chrysler is here. It's strong. It's incredibly successful on the market and acquiring position on the market. The Fiat is in difficult position. I think we have to recognize the fact that one part of the Fiat management had a great intuition to have an agreement with General Motors and to negotiate the agreement with good conditions. Because after the Paolo Fresco agreement at the end of the 90s, obviously they were very good with this agreement. Marchionne was very good to implement it. And today we have a company that's here. What do we have in common? The idea that Italy is not, like many pundits say, a reality that's cooked and that's ended. I continue to believe that the best times have yet to come. This is a country that can do everything. This is an extraordinarily fascinating country. In a country with 800,000 new consumers, Italy is perfectly capable not only of gaining new market shares, but also to give new faith and hope to citizens. Obviously, this is a challenge, and if you can't ask citizens not to risk. So we are willing to take our responsibility, but I hope that what we have in common is that in a few years, in the end, we will say, hey, we made it, just like we made it with the 14,000 Chrysler employees in Detroit made it too. We made it with 60 million Italian citizens, and I'm convinced 15,000 in this building, only in this building alone. In reality, there are many more, 25,000 employees in all. So let's bring some of them to Melfi. I have enough in Melfi. We have enough people to do the job, not in the sense that we've had enough of them. We have enough workers. So, yeah, I'm a good consultant, right? Presidente Renzi, benvenuto negli Stati Uniti, nel Michigan.
I guess just very simply, why did you decide to come here? What were your goals? What did you hope to accomplish? And secondly, are you concerned that Fiat has officially moved its headquarters to London? And Mr. Marchionne, I was wondering if you could give us an update on the timing of the stock listing and your expectations.
I'll give you the short answer. October 13th.
Posta breve.
October 13th, Columbus Day.
This is official.
It's as official as I can make it today, unless the New York Stock Exchange changes the rules. We're aiming for October 13th.
Obviously, this is a great opportunity for Fiat Chrysler. I think, I don't know what could be the reactions and the results, but obviously we support and we are a fan of this operation. In general, for me, the problem is not where is the headquarters for the finance rules and for the operation of finance around the world. For me, it's absolutely important to maintain the meaning of Made in Italy. This is important. Made in Italy with the strong cooperation, ability and intelligence of American leadership in the construction car. So it's not important if we are in New York City for the Wall Street or in Amsterdam for the headquarters or everywhere. For me, it's absolutely important the numbers of jobs, the numbers of employers in Italy are increasing with the only possibility, invest in the future. Because in the past, I think the car system in Italy look at the past. And my personal dream, my personal expectation is an investment for the future. So if to realize that, the quotation will be in New York City, in Wall Street, the day after Columbus Day, absolutely great opportunity.
Number 3 and then number 4.
Francesco Beide.
Francesco Beide from the Repubblica newspaper. Mr. President, you're proposing a deal that would make it easier for employers to fire and give more security to workers and who could find another job in case they're fired. Now, the second section of flexicurity, the Scandinavian model, is very expensive. I would like to know how you are going to find this money. Do you have a specific number in mind? And if this number will be part of the stability law? And do you think that, with all my experience, I can say that? And do you think that I can say that today I can tell you ahead of time what's going to be said on Monday in the morning? Maybe you can say what's going to happen. There's some beautiful stories that have been said, but they're not true. I have great respect, but the problem exists. Besides the jokes aside, it's how do we create a new mechanism in the labor market in Italy? That's the problem. We have a work system which is diversified. Excuse me. If the rehiring is a constitutional mandate, as some people say, why is it that it exists for those who have 15 employees or more and not for companies that have 15 or less employees? That's just a philosophical question. If this is not a constitutional mandate, it should be true for everyone. If it's a political choice, which I respect, then my question is this the best choice for the Italian system? Is this a choice that helps with the unemployment? Is this a choice that guarantees rights for everyone? Why is it some people have Class A rights and Class B rights? So what we would propose is an overall system. And getting to the second part of your question, it's obvious that we chose to bring together, to marry the period of discussion on the Jobs Act with the Stability Law Pact, because we need to fund certain institutions, and in particular institutions that have social buffers. And so it's obvious that we need to link the two discussions with the Job Act with the Stability Pact. Whoever denies this obvious link would deny the reality.
And then we'll see you later at the amphitheater. What, is there another press conference? No. 2 more questions. And then we'll stop. Hello, I'm Angela Vitaliano of the Fatto Quotidiano, President. You're talking about investments and the future, and all is well. But going around the United States, you'll see there is a system that's called merit, and it guarantees that you will have money that you. In Italy, this is not the system, and we don't have the possibility of having development and giving certainty to young people, and not only those. If there is not rewarding of merit, which is not something you never heard, if the people that deserve it don't get to go where they need to go, the country will not go forward. Why don't we ever hear this word? So what's your question, actually? You never hear this word of meritocracy? I talk about it all the time. In fact, maybe I'm getting boring. I'm talking a lot about it, and now we have to realize it. We have to, I find that your newspaper is always opposing us, but we are for merit. We proposed a discussion exactly on this. And, for example, the best teachers should be rewarded. Your newspapers is one of the main opposing voices to this. We made a very big investment on merit in the public administration. This is one of the important passages in the Madia decree. So I talk about even too much about meritocracy. I'll try to talk less and actually realize it, no matter what the cost. Mr. Prime Minister, Sky TG24, you said you'll make the labor market restart in Italy. Are you willing to break the Democratic Party? Who says this, for me or Marchionne? No, I don't see this risk. Last? Thank you very much. Oh, Grace.
I have to protect the Canadian consumers.
Marchionne, I will never forget you for this. Thank you. I do have a couple of questions, and I'm hoping to ask a question to the Prime Minister as well. Mr. Marchionne, now that the Ontario election is over and done with, are you interested in pursuing revisiting negotiations with the Ontario federal government regarding future investment in your Canadian operations?
I think it's unnecessary. The Prime Minister and I just went for a tour of the pilot plant, and he was able to see the first bodies of the new minivan that will be running through the Windsor lines, hopefully within 2015. And I think that the time has come and passed for that opportunity. It obviously, it was important at the time. I think we've made peace with that issue, regardless of what happened with the electoral system in Ontario.
And in that vein, can you update us on a timeline regarding the retooling of the minivan plant? I'm hearing up to 3 months shut down in the first quarter of 2015. Could you give us an update?
Absolutely. You're dead on right. Whoever gave you the gossip is giving you the correct information. It's about 12 weeks, and it'll happen within, it actually will bridge between first and second quarter, which is causing us big apoplectic reactions because obviously we're out of production for 3 months. So we're going through a very detailed study now to make sure that we can run run the plant flat out until then and then take her down and then bring her back up. It's a very complicated transfer because we're going to be running both products at the same time.
I don't expect you to give us many details about the design of the next generation minivan. Could you share with...
It's a stunning vehicle, and the Prime Minister is buying one. He's buying a Voyager.
This is the second time you smile. We must discuss, eh?
And Mr. Prime Minister, as you probably know, Canada and the European Union just signed their free trade agreement. I'd like to hear from you how you feel about that new deal and whether you plan to visit Canada anytime soon.
I think the last visit in Canada was by Enrico. Yes. We have a good relation with Steve Harper and the Canadian government, and the last trip, official state visit, because you know in the ranking of diplomacy there is state visit, official visit. I don't know if state visit or the official visit. Official visit was in 2013 by my predecessor, Mr. Ricoletta. About the relation between Europe and Canada and the USA, TTIP, in this moment we are absolutely very strong supporters of this agreement because this is correct, this is important, and this is also very good for Italy. This is the third, but it's not really a question for us. I'm not very optimistic because in the last period we wait for some things. We wait for the next maybe election midterm in USA. We wait for the new commission in European Union. You know there is a very complicated system, so we have a new president of commission, but he will be the official president in November 1st. So there are few problems in the discussions. I'm absolutely convinced about the importance of this agreement and in general to improve the relation, but we will try in the next European Council, October 23, October 24, to stress this importance in the meeting. About the relation with Canada, absolutely good, and I don't know if we will have in this moment a next trip, but I think now. I met last time Steve in NATO, no, not G7, in Wales, Wales Summit, September 4, and before in Brussels in G7.
Thank you.